What is the history of the Sony Walkman MP3? Imagine a time when carrying your favorite tunes meant lugging around a bulky CD player or a cassette tape. Now, picture the shift to sleek, tiny devices that fit in your pocket and changed how we listen to music forever. That's what the Sony Walkman MP3 is all about. It was part of a big move from the old-school analog formats to digital music in the early 2000s. Sony's original Walkman started way back in 1979 as a portable cassette player that everyone loved. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Sony wanted to keep that magic alive but with a modern twist. They started making digital music players that used flash memory instead of tapes or CDs. The first Sony digital Walkman was the NWMS7, released in late 1999. It was the first to use Sony's proprietary memory stick for storage, which was a small flash card. Even though it was called a Walkman, it didn't play MP3 files directly. Instead, it played Sony's 8-track format, which meant you had to convert MP3s before listening. It came with a 64 MB Magic Gate memory stick, which was enough for a few hours of music at the time. The design was small and stylish, fitting the early 2000s trend of mini gadgets. It was a bit pricey, costing around $200 at launch, but it was popular among tech lovers. In 2003, Sony released the NWMS700, which had built-in memory and supported memory cards, making it easier to store more music. During this time, Sony was experimenting with different storage options, trying to compete with the iPod, which was gaining popularity for its larger storage and simple MP3 playback. Sony also made Walkman-branded phones, like the W200, that combined music and mobile phone features. These devices showed how the early 2000s were all about multifunction gadgets. But Sony's MP3 players were often more expensive and less user-friendly than Apple's iPod, which used the open MP3 format and the iTunes Store. Sony's use of proprietary formats and software made transferring music a bit more complicated. Still, the Walkman brand kept evolving, focusing on flash memory players after 2011. Although it never quite matched the cultural impact of the cassette and CD era, the Sony Walkman MP3 players became symbols of the early 2000s gadget craze. They marked the shift from analog to digital music and made portable listening more accessible. So, the story of the Sony Walkman MP3 is really about how Sony adapted its legendary brand to a new digital world, experimenting with formats, memory cards, and even music in mobile phones, all during a time when portable digital music was just starting to explode.